good afternoon. Happy
Hello.
holidays. We are live with Tom and Ariana. Obviously, this guy over here is Tom. I'm Ariana Sylvester, and we are the creators of the Lifestyle Builders program and the free community family entrepreneur life. So if you haven't caught us on here before, welcome. So glad to have you. And remember, if you're watching live, hit us up with the hashtag Team Live. And if you're catching the replay, comment below with hashtag Team Replay. And yeah, let's get started. What do we got for this week?
All right, so if you guys are just tuning into the show for the first time, this is a weekly show that we have where we talk about some lessons learned. So these are lessons that we've learned either this week or just in general in entrepreneurship. We also then have a theme of the week. So this could be something that's coming up in our business, something that we're seeing kind of out in the entrepreneurship space, or maybe something that's coming up in our community or online that we just want to talk about, share our opinions, and then definitely get your opinions as well.
Yes.
And then finally, we'll wrap up with just some interesting posts or topics that we've seen in our Family Entrepreneur Life Facebook community, which is always interesting, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be great this week.
And as always, we welcome your feedback. So if you've caught us live before or catching us live for the first time, there's something that you'd really love to hear us talk about on the show, please post up in the comments or send us a message and let us know.
I was going to say, and we are very Christmassy,
this was not planned,
yeah,
actually.
Actually, nothing we do is really ever planned. It just seems to happen that way.
Sometimes we match by accident,
yeah,
and everyone thinks it's on purpose, and it's awkward.
And it's usually your fault.
No, it is not.
You always pick the same thing that I wear.
You wear one color.
So it should be easy not to pick that.
All right. So,
anyways,
I am going to jump into my reflection on the week, which is one I know many of you out there probably can relate to. As always, this time of year, we battle with the germs and the sicknesses and everything. But this week, we actually had both kids sick at the same time, and they were sick enough where they had to stay home from school and from daycare. And
that's always fun.
Yeah, always fun. Super productive day, by the way, yesterday. But one of the things that I just reflected upon yesterday, and I was so grateful for this, was I didn't have to worry about my plans being ruined or the
how
fact
many vacation days do I have left?
How many vacation days do I have left? I didn't have to worry about the fact that I literally spent the entire morning snuggling sick children and just being there for them. And I didn't have the mom guilt for not getting things done. I didn't have the business guilt for not getting things done. And that's probably one of the first times that that's happened to me this year. And I think a lot of that's just due to our consistent planning that we're always putting in place and having the foundations set in the businesses so that on days where we need to take a day off, we really only have to do a couple urgent things and that's it.
Yep.
So that was my reflection this week. It was amazing yesterday. Like I was totally okay being the snuggle mom, and Tom was down in the office getting work done, and then a couple times we swapped when I had to do something quick on the computer or get something good to go, and it was so nice, and my dream is for everyone out there to be able to do that as well, because it just was, as a parent, that is the thing that you want to be able to do, is be there for your kids when they need you.
Yeah.
And the entrepreneur lifestyle, you can really make that be available to you, you know, and I want everyone to experience that.
Yeah, well, and the one thing I like that you said is the planning that we do, not the plan. Because the plan this week didn't go according to plan.
No.
But it's the planning that we do.
The plan got thrown out the window.
Yeah, but like what we did that morning when, you know, the one kid woke up sick and the other one was sick, we got together, as we do every day, and we said, okay, let's do a quick kind of check-in on the day.
Yep.
So what things need to get done, what things need to get pushed, and then who's doing what. So, you know, yesterday I ended up having some stuff I had to do, so you ended up taking some of the roles. But having that planning then allowed us to not have it like a spoiled week, because both of our kids got sick and we have a quarantine house.
They're both fine, by the way.
Yeah, they're good now.
They both went to school and daycare today. So our day of rest yesterday went wonderfully. What's your
I was going to say,
reflection for the week?
in your reflection actually inspired my reflection.
Oh, good. I
So
like when it works out that way.
this week, and if you guys are in our Family Entrepreneur Life group, you might have seen this post. I was actually able to go to our daughter's school. She's in kindergarten, and just have crafts and Christmas and singing a day with her. And I wrote a post on it right afterwards because like it really hit me that even a couple of years ago, that wasn't possible at all. Like, I was in my corporate career. At that point, I was actually traveling to different cities to consult with organizations, and I was gone 4 days a week. So, like, I literally wouldn't have been able to do that if I was still in a job and I had someone else kind of dictating my schedule. But the beautiful thing that I mean, it's happened, you know, as our daughter's gotten into school, but just being able to really set our schedule, and we still got work done,
yeah.
But we were able to do that. And it was interesting. I was talking to the teacher, and, you know, she's like, oh, so did you take the day off of work today? And I'm like, no, actually, I didn't have to take the day off of work. I decided that this was what I was going to do, and I'm doing it. And we'll still do some of the work stuff later, but having that flexibility is something that, you know, we haven't had completely before. And every time it happens, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's so great. Mm-hmm. And I shared just quickly in that post, it kind of broke my heart. We were sitting there, and there were a couple kids who their parents weren't there yet, and they went to start doing this like song, and this one kid just started breaking out crying because his parents weren't there, and everyone else had parents there, and his parents weren't. And just as a parent and seeing that kid, it sucks that his parents had to be working a job and probably couldn't make it there when everyone else was. Like, I mean, that's just got to be so heartbreaking for kids. And I mean, for parents that are like, I'm missing these, what our friends Shane and Jocelyn will call can't miss moments. I'm missing them because I can't get away from my job for an hour or two to be able to do that. Like, that is just heart-wrenching.
Yeah, and we had a community member share that has happened to her, or that almost happened to her when she was working a job, but she was lucky that one of her coworkers took a shift for her that she was supposed to be working to be able to see her daughter's concert, I believe.
Yeah.
And then she said that looking back, that is one of the biggest reasons she's grateful to be a freelancer and to make her own schedule and have her own business, because now she doesn't have to worry about missing those moments.
Well, and that's why we talk about integrating life and business. Like, as entrepreneurs, you have more flexibility to do that than ever, whereas most people try to balance it. Like, I'm not trying to balance our family and our business. I'm integrating the two. Here's the slots of the day, or here's the days where we're going to do stuff for us, and then we're going to fill in the rest of the time for the business stuff.
Yeah. Well, and as we obviously just figured out, at times you're going to have to do more of the life stuff than the business stuff. Mm-hmm. For example, when your kids are homesick from school.
But we set up our businesses so that can happen, which is great.
Yeah. All right. So, topic of the week this week, we've got talking about, it's not really a sexy topic, but hey, we're talking about it anyways because it's important. We're talking about business revenue.
I was going to say, we were talking about money before, and that was definitely not a sexy topic. At least this one is about, like, making money.
Well, I think the one before was interesting, though. We talked about money and the differences with your spouse and your kids.
Well, we're nerds, though.
Okay, yeah, we're nerds.
Right?
Well,
but, I mean, that was a really good topic. So if you guys missed that one, that was on our previous show. We'll put a link down in the comments here. But we talked all about personal finance and how to budget.
Oh,
and
yeah. That was when we were snowing.
Yeah.
Our video was snowing.
Yeah.
The connection was bad.
Great. But what we're talking about this week is business revenue.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So, business revenue. Everyone likes to talk about revenue and top line numbers and what did your business make this year, and what was your gross profit? But we're actually going to break it down into talking about the one-time versus the recurring model.
Yeah, so it's really how you make your revenue. Because a lot of people will talk about, oh, I made $10,000 or I made $20,000. And how you made that money actually has a big impact on the health of your business. Mm-hmm. So where do we want to start with this?
Well, I guess just talking about what each of those things are. So
okay,
basically, when you're talking about revenue being either one-time or recurring revenue is money that you know is coming in every single month.
I love that.
So this is a consistent amount that you know is coming in versus one-time which could be you have a big launch and you have a one-time revenue from that launch, or you have a big time of year where your revenue is higher than others because of seasons.
Or it could even be the type of customers you have that your customer only comes to you and buys once compared to a customer that comes and repeatedly buys from you or repeatedly pays you.
Yes, so we would love to hear from you what types of revenue you have. Do you have just one-time revenue? Do you have recurring revenue? And, kind of what do you have going that causes both of those things? And we're going to break it down and give you just an example.
Well, I was going to say, we're going to show you for each of our businesses how our revenue breaks out that way, and just give you guys some thoughts or examples on how you can start thinking about your business and how that revenue comes in. And especially as we go into next year, right, maybe you make some shifts and maybe you have a lot of like one-time revenue now, which is great, but maybe you want to start shifting some of that into recurring revenue to have a more stable and healthy business.
Well, and I just want to point out that, in the online space, it's very common for people to have one-time revenues. A lot of people have like a big course and they do a launch on it once a quarter, or they have big events that they sell not memberships. They sell like event tickets to, and it happens once a year, and they have a couple of those events throughout the year. Those types of things are great because normally you make more revenue off of them, which means you get to bring more home, but then you've got those ups and downs where you make a lot and then you go down to making nothing or not very much, and then you make a lot again and then you go, so it's very unpredictable.
Yep.
And it's really hard for you to do any kind of projections or really look at your finances in a consistent way because your money that you have coming through your business is just so all over the place. It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, and Lisa,
what most people online talk about is actually wanting to have both sides of the model. So they have that reoccurring revenue that they know is all the time.
I was going to say, well,
I just see the gif of this.
Well, what Lisa said is that's exactly what she said. She said, right now my business is all one-time sales, hoping to set some of that consistent revenue in place. And, that's what happens with a lot of businesses, to your point, whether it's seasonal or whether the way you set it up is more on the launches or the one-time events.
Yeah, and those are hard. Those are hard on you mentally. Those are hard on you planning-wise.
Yep.
It takes a lot more work to consistently be putting out the marketing and to be doing the outreach and to be putting all of the stuff in place behind the launch.
But with that said, you can make a lot of money at one time with those things. So a lot of what we're going to go through here, we'll talk about each of our businesses. We'll talk about where the revenue comes from, what's one-time versus recurring. And then one of the things you guys can think about is what makes sense for your business. Because one model or the other model may make a lot of sense. And usually what we find is that a hybrid actually works out the best.
Yes, hybrids.
Okay.
Plus one for hybrids.
Plus one for hybrids. All right, so let's start with our first business, right?
Okay,
Real estate investing. Love real estate investing.
So do a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, and one of the reasons a lot of people like real estate investing is because there's a lot of different ways to be able to bring money in from that.
Yeah. Recurring model is if you own rental properties. And
which we do.
That is consistent money coming in every month as long as all of your properties are rented and you don't have vacancies. That means all of that money is coming in and you know exactly what's coming in because you have those amounts set.
Yep.
But a lot of people do flips as well, which can be huge one-time revenue. If you know what you're doing and you've gone through the flipping process, you can make quite a bit of money on those.
Now, let's just take an example. I mean, so for example, a lot of our real estate we end up keeping and then renting out, but we do occasionally sell a property. Now, let's just take a basic example. We might have a property where we get $1,500 a month in rent. So every single month, we're getting $1,500 a month in rent. That's pretty sweet. But if we go and flip a property, we might make anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 to who knows what, depending on what we ended up putting into it. But so you might say, well, I just want to do flips all the time. Well, doing flips is a lot of work. You've got to find a property that needs that work. You've got to manage the whole project, and then you've got to find someone to sell it. So there's a lot involved in that, but there's a bigger payoff.
Yep.
But the problem is once you do a flip, now you basically got to start back over and find the next property. And so that model works really well for some people. Other people just like to, I want to buy houses and then just keep getting the recurring income. I'd rather get $1,500 a month and then make sure that's continuing. So that's primarily what we do, but we end up putting some flips or selling some houses in between to give us that large kind of one-time chunk, and then supported by having the rent come in every month.
Yeah. And then in our liquor store, this one is actually not quite as clear because our revenue is pretty much completely based on our customers. So this is one where Tom was talking about before. It kind of depends on how your customers are interacting with your business. Oh, excuse me. So
Did you eat a frog?
I did not eat frog, you weirdo. That was on a different live.
I know.
Anywho, we have customers who are repeat customers, but then we may have some customers who are only passing through at certain times of year. So there might be a spike in revenue on certain holidays when you have holiday purchases plus travelers passing through. And at other times, you may just have those repeat customers coming in. So one of the things that we're looking at is putting in a customer loyalty program as an incentive for current customers or new customers to keep coming back to us and become repeat customers.
Well, I was going to say, so if we'll get a little bit geeky here.
No,
so
geeky.
The numbers
Although I do have my Hogwarts shirt on, so.
I was going to say, you're totally geeky. So on average, a customer spends about $25 in our store. So if a customer just comes to our store once and then that's it, we're bringing in $25 of revenue from that customer, but that's all we get. But if we can get that customer to come back in and come back in again, well, now the value of that customer is a lot higher for us. So what we're looking to do next year is really get more of the repeat customers coming in. Because for most businesses, once the customers have bought from you, they're more likely to buy again. So we're going to be doing this customer loyalty program.
We also take requests, so we've done a ton of special orders for people, which goes over well when they have a specific type of alcohol that they want, and you say, oh, I can get that for you. And we've also done some incentives for when you spend certain amounts, you get promotional items.
Well, I was going to say, in a lot of the things we do with the incentives are when people buy and we want them to come back, we give them a coupon on their next purchase, right? So the overall strategy of what we're trying to do here is to take more of those customers that may be one-off and turn them into regular or returning customers.
And well, that's important because there's a lot of businesses out there that have that similar model where you have people coming to you for a one-time purchase, and you have to get creative sometimes with figuring out ways to get those people to come back and repeat buy from you.
Yes, and so Lisa said loyalty cards, and that's basically what we're doing, but we're going to really enhance it. So one of the cool things that we have is because we have multiple businesses, we can see strategies that work in maybe in the online space. And then we take those strategies and processes and tools and accommodate them for our offline businesses.
Yes.
So we're going to start doing some email marketing with those people. We're going to really tie in the customer loyalty. Who knows what we'll do next year? But there's a lot of cool
Apparently lots
stuff.
of things
Oh, always.
in Tom's brain.
But the other thing with this business is it's very seasonal. Like, we're into the end of the year, and we make so money of our sales in December and going into like the New Year's. So then we end up dropping off in January, February, March are much slower times. So one of the other things that we're looking to do is say, well, what products or what programs can we offer in those slower times to even out some of that revenue?
Yeah.
So we talked about doing things like running wedding packages.
Yeah, that's a big one. Or event packages.
Yep. And so that way it could be a one-time maybe purchase, but then it might lead people into coming back as customers. And plus it helps with, the highs and the lows of sales throughout the year.
Yeah. All right. So enough about Warsaw. Talking about our online business, this is one of the few businesses that actually has both models and more consistently. So obviously the real estate, we have mostly recurring and then sometimes those one-time spikes.
Yep.
The liquor store is mostly one-times with some of the recurring customers. But our online business is actually a lot of both. And we set it up that way for a reason.
Well, I was gonna say, and that's an important point. A lot of people, like when we end up coaching a lot of people, what we find is that some of their business challenges are because they weren't intentional about how they set up getting their revenue. So, there might be somebody who's doing the launch model, but they don't have any of that recurring. And then a lot of their business challenges are, well, I get a bunch of money and then I don't get a bunch of money again till later on.
Yeah.
So we help them introduce some of the recurring aspects into that. So now they're not so dependent on just doing those launches.
Yeah. And I think this one, I'm just going to say it, we didn't start off that way. It was something that we gradually put in place as we looked at what everyone else was doing and kind of our goal for the business and what our vision was. And we said, okay, well, we definitely need to implement that somehow. So as we kind of progress through this business, which we've pivoted a couple times over the last couple years, This is what we've hit on now, and it is working out really well for us.
Yeah, so for the one time, and this is actually where I recommend a lot of people start, is have those one-time offers because they're usually more money at once, and they're usually easier to implement, and they don't cost as much. Now, if you're going to go and do like a giant launch, yes, that's going to cost a lot. Yeah. But if you're going to offer a service, you're typically going to get paid more for that service, and it may or may not be reoccurring, but it's going to enable the rest of your business. So for us, we offer coaching. Right, we offer one-on-one coaching packages, and then we also offer shorter, what we call intensives. So these are like 2-hour sessions where we really dive in with a business owner and say, let's look at either kind of a whole audit of your business and help you plan out the next steps, or let's look at a specific area like maybe your finances or maybe your sales and marketing and figure out where are some of the gaps and then what can you do coming out of that. So when we sell those, you know, the coaching is usually a 3-month package. The intensive is usually a 2-hour package with some additional support. But those are one time, and then they're done. People might come back for a second package, or they might come back for another service, but those are one-time packages.
Yeah. And then we've got our Lifestyle Builders program, which is some of our recurring income, because that's a program that is ongoing. So as people sign up, they're in the program for as long as they want or need to be. So for us, that is part of our recurring model. We forgot to mention at one time is also courses. Yeah. If you sell one-off courses, digital courses, or digital products, that is also considered one time. So we don't have any of those yet, but we're working on some of those in the pipeline.
Oh, we do have.
We do. Oh, yeah.
We have several of them.
It's Friday. My brain is like, woo, ready for the holidays.
Well, yeah, so that's the beautiful thing is when you think about how you're going to make money, you can think about all these different options and then also look at your goals and say, what's going to work for me or for us? You know, and the challenge that a lot of people have when they look at the recurring is that typically on a monthly basis, the recurring looks a lot less. Yeah. Right? But what you want to look at is, well, what's the value of that customer or that client that you're using? So in the example I used with the wine and liquor store, if someone buys from us once, their value might be $25. But if they buy from us every month, right, their value might be a couple $100. So where it can be very sexy to sell like the one-time thing, you might actually make more per customer if you do a recurring thing. Yeah. And then the best is when you can do a one-time, and then once they're maybe done with the one-time, then have them in a recurring to continue supporting them or continue giving them the product or service that you're offering.
Yeah. I feel like we just went through a lot of information.
I feel like every time we get on, we go through a lot of information.
If you're watching and you're liking what we're saying, or you've got questions or comments, leave them down below and we will get back to those.
Yeah, I was going to say definitely leave comments because part of, you know, we do give you guys a lot of information, but we don't want to hold anything back. Yeah. You know, a lot of people will give you tidbits of information and we want to give it all to you guys because we know how challenging it is to start and grow your business, and we want to share the actual experiences that we've had, not only with our businesses, but also with all the people that we've coached.
Yes. All right. So, to the fun part. I'm excited for this one this week.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Obviously, we are towards the end of our show, which is where we talk about the posts of the week or the wins of the week or any interesting like debates that we've had in our community. So I wanted to point out that there was one overarching...
Hold on, can I give a win first?
You can give a win.
We sold one of our properties.
Woohoo!
So we had one of those one-time, incomes.
Yeah.
Which was beautiful.
It was awesome. Right time of year for it, too.
I was going to say, and we don't do that that very often. So like we said, we keep most of them. So it's nice to get those cash infusions at some points of the year.
It is very nice.
So if you guys have wins,
Yes.
leave them down below because we want to hear how are you closing out this year strong.
Post out your wins. So this week we had a couple posts that I wanted to pull out and chat about really quickly. The first one was this overarching theme of entrepreneurship for people at a young age. So I posted up a question about how old were you when you started your first business, and then what was it? And we had a huge thread of people posting all different ages, from kids at age 6 selling lemonade at fairs and festivals to, somebody raking leaves and just all sorts of different businesses. And it's funny to me because I don't consider myself the true entrepreneur, but every time we post any kind of question like that, it gets so much engagement, and every entrepreneur that I've met had some sort of entrepreneurial tendency or business that they started when they were young.
So you saying that makes me just realize that you didn't share your giant win for the week.
I didn't share my giant
You're
win
an
for the week.
accidental entrepreneur.
I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I had my first official feature in Huffington Post, which I'm super excited about. It is called Life Lessons from an Accidental Entrepreneur. We will post up the link below.
I was going to say, and I think that ties in really well to that theme because, there's some of us, like, moi, that started that first business at like 5. I was like selling candy out of my room, and we had a lot of good examples on that post. And then there's some people like Ariana who are like, oh, my first business was like 25 when my significant other pulled me into it.
Pretty
or
much,
maybe it was 40 when, something changed.
I don't think I ever sold anything when I was young. I didn't even, the thought never crossed my mind. I knew what garage sales were. I had some stuff that I put in garage sales, but nothing to the extent of everyone on that post, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the next one was, I loved Maureen's post about, she asked how people mix it up and get offline. So what do you do to get out of the house and to like meet people in real life, to enhance your business or even just to enhance yourself, your self-improvement? And there's some people posting up, I believe Michael posted up an article that he'd written about it. People talked about doing local meetups or going to local workshops or things like that. And I thought that was a great question because being an entrepreneur is lonely. And a lot of us, like, if I didn't have to go and pick our son up or drop him off from daycare, we wouldn't leave the house because our daughter just gets on the bus. So I wouldn't see people unless we went grocery shopping or to the gas station.
Well, and I was going to say, and we at least work together. There's a lot of people that end up working alone. Mm-hmm. And actually, I was on a discovery call this week, and someone said, I just started working from home, and I didn't realize the impact or change that would have because I'm not in the office. I'm not surrounded by people. Mm-hmm. And even Jason Brown, who's in our community, I was talking to him when we were at a conference about a month ago, and he said, that when he left and went home, he ended up going out and starting working in a co-working space a couple days a week.
Because he didn't live working alone.
Yeah, he had to be around people. Yeah. And I think that's something that so many of us don't realize until it happens. And then you're like, man, I got to build in, some social interaction.
I think we take for granted what being around people actually does for us. Not only does it kickstart that brainstorming and that vision of, talking to people and getting excited about your business and them throwing out ideas to you, but also the personal development side of it. Yeah. I mean, I for example, I sing in a choir. So every Tuesday night, I get to leave the house and talk to other adults.
Don't sound so excited about that.
And I get to do something that I love. So for me, that's part of my self-care, my personal development of going out and doing something that I love and being an adult. Adulting.
I was going to say adulting.
But there's a lot of us that as you get older, a lot of us start to lose out and drop off on our hobbies, or we get excited about our business and we allow ourselves to just work constantly in the business, and we forget about doing other things. We forget about going out and having new experiences. We forget how fun it is sometimes to go out and meet new people. And I know a lot of online entrepreneurs tend to be a little on the introverted side, so maybe that makes you a little bit scared or like, oh God, I have to go talk to people. But that's not what you don't have to go and talk to people, but it's important to find some people to go out and just be yourself with and maybe get out of your own head a little bit.
Well, I was going to say, and that goes really well with our theme for next year, which we kind of figured out as we went through goal planning, which is put us first.
Yep.
And so, part of getting out is not only from a business perspective, but also the things that we want to do in those hobbies.
Oh, our movie's over. Yeah, little one had a half day today.
Yeah, you want to say hi?
Hi. The Sticky Poo's finally feeling better.
And actually, this is a really good tie-in. Yes. Absolutely.
So we are, one of the posts that made me literally laugh out loud this week.
Me too.
Was, what are the weird things your kids or spouses have asked for Christmas?
So let's ask this little one first. So Elena, what is one of the things that you really want on your Christmas list? Remember? What does Ty really want? Grocery gang. He loves these things.
Well, and we had some very interesting answers.
Yes, we did.
The first of which was a real robot, a brother.
A brother. I bet the parents like that one.
They have an only child, and that's what he asked for, a brother. Their shadow.
All I can think about with that was that old school Peter Pan.
Yes.
Where Peter Pan loses his shadow. Yeah.
A gold bar.
I think that was me.
No, it wasn't.
No.
It was a kid.
I do want a gold bar, though. If anyone would like to send me a gold bar, that would be great.
We're taking any of those. A cell phone, and this one was from a 6-year-old. A cell phone.
Ooh.
A toy dog that poops. And
we have a real dog that poops that we could lend out. Absolutely.
And then the last one was for Santa to bring Halloween back.
Was that kid watching the Nightmare Before Christmas?
I don't know, maybe.
That's what Elena likes.
Well, and then there was one that really tugged at the heartstrings was somebody's 6-year-old. She said he basically has no requests. He says he has everything he needs, and whatever Santa wants to bring is fine, and nothing at all is fine, too.
Did you say that was a 6-year-old?
Yes.
Wow.
That is pretty impressive.
That is a very mature 6-year-old.
Can your son come and teach all of our children?
Well, I was going to say, but, we're doing a lot of that as well. We've talked in the past about, raising kids and, what we're doing from a parent perspective as well as an entrepreneur. And, part of this is us donating a lot of our toys, right? Mm-hmm. So Elena and Ty helped us figure out what toys we could donate to other kids to help them get some of their Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That is it for today's show. We know that it's going to be a busy week with everyone traveling, and if you're celebrating any of the holidays that are coming up, we wish you the best wishes for this year, and hope you have a lovely time and enjoy your family and friends. And just a reminder, we are opening up Lifestyle Builders in January, so if you're looking for some more guidance and support for your business and just some good old strategy on how to help you take things to the next level, go ahead and sign up for the wait list so that you're the first one to be notified when we reopen the doors, and you get a little special bonus as well.
Yeah, we've been having so much fun with our Lifestyle Builders so far. We launched, last month. We closed it down so we could really focus on them. We've gone through strategy and goal planning sessions. People have got their plans laid out for next year, and we are so pumped not only for our businesses next year, but also to be able to help all of you guys with your businesses and achieving your dreams next year.
All right, that's it, and we'll see you guys again next week.
Let's see what Homer has to say.
You're a hero.
She's giggling. We got like 30 of those things,
and
by
the
way.
kids just click them all and let them all go off. So this is our nightly routine.
All right, bye everyone.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. We'll see you guys